Yeah, because maybe you weren't doing that as much last time.
Suncorp Stadium in Brisbane. Game 2, Tuesday night action in the SRL. It's a do-or-die clash for two teams currently sitting near the bottom of the SRL table. It's the Panthers away to the Broncos. Pete Veretto leading out that Brisbane side. One win so far this season, coming against the Cowboys in round 2. Meanwhile, for the Panthers, yet to register their opening win for the season. Joining me in the commentary box tonight is Jack O'Neill. Jack, we've just had a massive opening game to start round 4. How are you looking forward to this? I guess you'd call it a bottom of the table clash, but just as exciting as Mark Lee looks to get the game underway.
Yeah, look, I'm hoping for a really, really tight contest. I want to see some really good footy to try and get my mind off of that last game, that's for sure. But, you know, both sides, they've had some positives this season. Penrith, they pushed the Cowboys right to the end in their last game. The Broncos obviously had a good win against the Cowboys in the Queensland Derby as well earlier in the season, but they have had really disappointing seasons for their standards so far, but they'll be looking to bounce back and looking to keep their finals hopes alive in this game.
So opening set sees the Broncos with their hands on the ball, going right to left in this opening 40 minutes. As Clark gets a ball inside to Spillane, who breaks through the line, almost gets away, but taken down, and a good Sean Bradford tackle, but a good opportunity for the Broncos here as Evans puts it high. Veretto coming through, but it's Robbie Elms who diffuses that one, and the Panthers will bring it out.
That was one of the
for the
best
restart
offloads I've seen in the SRL. That was beautiful stuff.
So that's Williams to take it out for the Panthers on this near side. They come through Kennedy's first touch of the game, Brodie Kennedy. Veretto throws him to the ground on the halfway line as Williams charges it forward. Centre field, it's the Panthers. Murphy at dummy half with that green hair flaying in the wind. Sinclair up over the 30, charging for a penalty. Looking for a quick play the ball. Referee not quite giving the first penalty away yet. So tackle 4 for the Panthers. Sinclair will take it forward. Into the Broncos 20 they go. Murphy at dummy half, centre field. They go back to Lee. First attacking kick of the game. A tough one for Crimp, but he does well, but he's been forced back into the in goal.
Wow.
So the Broncos forced to restart with a line dropout. It's plays with his hands on the ball, and he'll send it high, deep down towards that halfway line. And the Panthers will get another set to try and score the opening points of the evening.
I said it before the game started, I wanted to see an entertaining, fast game, nice and tight, and that's exactly what we are seeing so far. This has been a really good showing to both sides. Hopefully they can keep this for the rest of the match.
As Martin takes it forward, the captain 7 metres out from the line as Murphy stays left. The saddle cart busters through the middle, and Joshua Saddlecart opens the scoring for the Panthers in just the 6th minute of the game. The young rookie, 8 missed tackles last week for Saddlecart, and he is trying to rectify that straight away. His first try in the SRL. Panthers out in front early.
Yeah, great start from the Panthers. Thought they were unlucky not to get a penalty there. Lachlan Martin was held down pretty long in that last play, but then some really strong service from every player. Every single pass in that play had to be perfect, and it was straight on Saddlecart's chest. He's had a couple of good moments so far in his rookie season in the SRL, but that's definitely his best. That was beautiful footwork from him, and he crosses for a try.
The conversion is successful for the Panthers. Mark Lee slotting it straight through the middle from that near touchline, and they are out to a 6-0 lead in the opening couple of minutes of this one. As the game gets back underway, it's Sinclair who will run it back for the Panthers. We're going to go through those two lineups right now. It's the Panthers going left to right, starting in that number 1 jumper as per usual was Brodie Kennedy. Unlucky not to get as much game time as he would have hoped for during that Origin season, but he will be well and truly rejuvenated and ready to go this season. Nathan Fisher and Robbie Elms on the wings for the Panthers. Josh Saddlecart scoring the opening try of the game, and Hayden Malhurt partners him in the number 4. In the halves, James Thorne finds themselves back in the halves, partnering up with Mark Lee this time for the first time. Lachlan Sinclair, Jordan Williams up the front, and Declan Murphy in the number 9. In the back row for the Panthers, Lachlan Martin, the skipper, Sean Bradford, and Simon Hunt is your number 13. On the bench, Ollie Pace, Hayden Davis, Anthony Delaney, and on debut, Tim Ball. Meanwhile, for the Broncos, a couple of big changes in this Brisbane side as they have their hands on the ball at the moment, struggling to get out of their own half. 3rd tackle, 4th tackle now. It's Logan Clark just inside the Panthers half. A juggle by Prakash, does well to hold on to it. So final tackle now for Brisbane, 35 metres out, centre field. Prakash will play the ball, Diab at dummy half, and Cherry Evans just punches it on that towards that far corner where Nathan Fisher will return it. So number 1 for the Broncos, it's Sam Herban, who arguably has had a pretty quiet season for Brisbane. Hasn't quite yet reached the heights that he had for Manly back in season 2. Tyler Weston and Michael Crimp are the wingers. Tom O'Mac and Justin Plays in the centres. A new halves combination of Jack Cahill and Cherry Evans. While up front, Logan Clark, Coda Diab starting in the number 9, and Jordan Ford are your front rows. Engine room for the Broncos, Pete Veretto moves from the number 13 to the number 11, partnering up with Lennox Prakash, while Jack Spillane is the number 13. On the bench, Jason Farrer, Stephen Sheldon, Levi Raymond dropped for this game, arguably one of the best players for the Broncos this season. As Prakash goes through the middle, and out of nothing, Lennox Prakash has answered back for the Broncos. A little inside ball finds the big front rower charging on with a good line. It was a good offload from, I think it could have been Cherry Evans, in fact. Sorry, Dan Mason is the number 17, but a try to Lennox Prakash.
Really good line there from Lennox. He pushed up on that outside shoulder there of his teammate. I think you're right. I think that was Cherry Evans, and it was really good ball playing. Really strong run, and then he just burns the Panthers defenders. Really good answer back from the Broncos. They need to be consistent now. They've obviously made a lot of personnel changes this week, but we're not sure if that's going to click for them, but so far it seems to be. So a good start for the Broncos, a good hit back from the Broncos rather, but you know, there's a long way to go.
Conversion is successful from Justin Play, so 6-all here at Suncorp. Home side answering back after that opening try to Penrith. Try to Lennox Prakash, his first of the season.
That's your second.
You have to say that, Jack, that these two teams, even though they're bottom of the table at the moment, you know, they've still got plenty to play for. There's still 4 rounds remaining in the season. And even though typically you'd need 4 games or 4 wins to make the semi-finals, you never know, that could be a little bit different this year. I get the feeling that 3 games could get you into the semis. Just depends on the permutations, but just a little feeling I have at the moment.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's been a really tight competition so far this season. I do think that Penrith need to win tonight. I don't think that they can get away without another loss, without another 2 points, sorry. Whereas I think the Broncos maybe can afford to lose this, like you said. But either way, I think that both teams need to be playing, you know, putting everything into this game. They need to treat this as do or die. There needs to be a lot of desperation from both sides.
So a good kick there from the Panthers, with the Broncos looking to make their way out of their own half. It's a Veretto up through the middle, finds Clark on his inside. So 16 and a half minutes gone here at Suncorp Stadium as Herman slices through the middle. For the moment I thought he was away. I thought he gooseyed Kennedy, but Kennedy did well to hold on to him as they go short to Clark once again. Debut in the number 8 jumper, Logan Clark. Cut out ball to Mac. Tomo Mac almost getting through. Shrugs off one. Got away from Bradford. Eventually taken down just a metre short from the line. Numbers to the right. Diaz goes to Evans on the toe for Cahill. And the halves combine for Broncos' second try of the game.
What about that? That was some thrilling footy. That was scintillating play. You go back to a tough run from Pete Veretto that started that set. Tomo Mac with some beautiful footwork. I think he broke about 3 tackles, ended up beating about 5 defenders, and then a beautifully weighted kick here, and Jack Cahill has got his first try as a Brisbane Bronco against his former club. Wow, what about that for some footy?
Some flashy footy from Brisbane, and the home crowd is on their feet. 2 tries in 5 minutes for the Broncos, and plays from out in front will add the extra 2, and all of a sudden 12 points to 6. It's the Broncos out to a bit of a lead now.
Panthers can't panic here. They were showing some really good signs in attack. They can't start pushing passes. They just need to defend this set, get back into the swing of things, have a good kick at the end of their next set, and get back into the set-for-set footy. They were playing really well to start the game.
Pete Veretto started well so far this game for the Broncos, obviously playing in the second row tonight after having pretty good performances in the number 13 jumper so far this season, but moving back into the second row where he played pretty well back in season 2, but he started off pretty well tonight, already over 70 metres with ball in hand.
Yeah, I think that for me, I was really surprised when I saw him in the second row. I thought that he might be a bit wasted out there. I thought lock was definitely his best position, and he's really made a name for himself in there so far. But he's had a really good start to this game in the second row. So good work so far for Pete Veretto. That's a nice little kick from Jack Cahill.
Elms to return it. Robbie Elms, one of the best for the Panthers so far this season. As you can imagine, there haven't been too many shining lights out of the Panthers in the opening 3 rounds of the season. Robbie Elms is one of them. Unlucky to miss out on Origin. In the off break we've just had, Thorne taking it forward. James Thorne, another player that really needs to step up for the Panthers. Obviously missing out on Origin after being the Kangaroos halves. As Herbin goes through the middle again. We'll come back to James Thorne in a moment, but a good run from Sam Herbin and sets it up really nicely early in the tackle count for the Broncos inside the Panthers half. So as mentioned, James Thorne missing out on Origin. The series just being the Kangaroos incumbent. Number 7.
I must say though, I think that move was probably the best thing for James, just to be able to go focus with the Panthers and focus on himself, get himself into the right headspace to continue the rest of this season.
Yeah, so he spent a game in the number 9 jumper back in round 3. He's been moved back into the halves. As Fisher takes that one in the end goal, and the referee has asked him to bring it out to the 20 for the restart. But I was a little bit surprised to see James Thorne back into the halves after only spending 1 week in that number 9 jumper, but possibly because of that trade that the Panthers and the Broncos made with Jack Cahill moving to the Broncos and Anthony Delaney coming to the Panthers. Maybe they just wanted to, you know, bring a little bit more experience back into that halves pairing.
Yeah, one thing Lachlan Martin does is he really thinks about his team. He's a mad scientist the way he tinkers around with his team. I think that he would have made the best decision for the good of the team there. I think Thorne at hooker was a good experiment. I thought that helped simplify his game a little bit, as that's a huge run there from Hunt. But I think that the halves is still his natural position, and I'm excited to see how he and Mark Lee can link up there.
Final tackle, and Ollie Pace has put it down on the 5th tackle, so not the end to the set the Panthers would have been hoping for. But on Lachlan Martin, yes, he's taken over from Nathan Fisher, the second captain to do so this season, after Luke Short also took over from Eli Barnes earlier this week at Parramatta. But
so, Commish, of course, Eli Barnes, with that change, obviously now there's doubts around his future at Parramatta. What do you think about Fisher stepping down from the captaincy? Do you think there's doubts for his future at Penrith?
Really depends on performance, I say, with Nathan Fisher. He struggled for form in season 2, and as we see Fisher take the kick and make his way out just past the 10 for the Panthers. Struggled in season 2 and then scored a couple of tries towards the back end of the season. Obviously frustrated to miss out on the finals 2 seasons in a row. But a highly regarded winger in the SRL. Obviously has played Origin in the past. But really needs to find a little bit more form out on that left edge. As Mallard up inside the Broncos 30 they go. Kennedy finds Davis, but he can't make any further advancement. Taken down a good tackle by Diab. Murphy to Thorne. Final tackle. He'll send it crossfield to the wing of Crimp. Beats one tackle. Michael Crimp teetering with the sideline. It's Kennedy who comes across. And they take him down on the 30.
That was a really good set from Penrith. They played really good ad-lib footy, and they played really fast too. Plenty of offloads. All the outside backs coming in and making work. That was a really strong set, but now they need to back it up with defence.
Definitely feel like they are targeting Coda Diab in that dummy half. Defences coming up early on him, obviously trying to pressure the young hooker, making his debut in the number 9 tonight as Spillane shrugs off a tackle. Taken down around the waist by Sinclair. Final tackle now is Diab. Finds Sheldon. Sheldon trying to get the hands free, but it's Declan Murphy who comes up early and puts a bit of pressure on the young Broncos number 15, and he can't get it away. Panthers ball.
Panthers will be happy with that. Brisbane probably were coming to get them a bit as Brody Kennedy goes straight through.
Dangerous as always, Brody Kennedy. Many calling, I guess, for his any reason in particular why, your thoughts on why Kennedy maybe didn't make that Origin, that New South Wales Origin side? Was it a tough decision not to leave him out?
Yeah, look, I think in game 1 he came on and he played in the halves where he obviously isn't very experienced. I think that we wanted to reward Jacob Morrison for his good start to his career, and Isaac Simons at the Warriors has been really strong too, so we wanted to give him a gig there as well. And then it was a tough decision. Obviously he's not going to play fullback with Chaz Dingo unless Dingo moved to the halves, but playing off the bench in the halves wasn't his natural role. We wanted to try and let Ash Crutcher play a full 80-minute game in the halves in game 2, so unfortunately he was the unlucky man to miss out. And we brought, I think it was Mark Lee in, and he played a bit of a roaming ball player role, and I think that suited Mark really well and just suited the whole team's balance a little bit better. So Brody was the unlucky man in the New South Wales squad to some extent this series, but you know, he'll be back in that jersey for sure. He's class. There's no doubt in my mind he will don the sky blue again in the near distant future.
Final tackle here for the Panthers. A metre out. They go back to the pocket for Lee. Mark Lee putting it through for Davis, and Hayden Davis will crot a little ricochet off one of the Broncos players. But the Panthers, through Hayden Davis, have scored, and they will look to even things up. It came off a Pete Veretto mistake earlier in the tackle count, but Hayden Davis going over for his second try.
Yeah, look, a bit of luck there for the Panthers, but they took it with both hands. A really awkward kick for the Broncos defence to take, and a really good chase, really good effort there, and reward for his effort. Hayden Davis goes in for a try.
Lee from our front, no wind to deal with tonight, and he will send it up into the grandstand. Back to evens here at Suncorp. The Simulation Rugby League Premiership live on SRL TV. If you have not yet joined the SRL, click the link in the description of this video and you too can be the player, get your career underway and join Rugby League's fastest growing eSports competition. Season 3 is halfway through, just completed the Origin series. Just talking about Brody Kennedy and him missing out on selection in that New South Wales lineup, but it was Queensland who won the series 2-1 after winning the opening game of the series. And I'd have to say, Jack, that the thing that stood out to me was the Queensland kicking game in game 1. I think there was 2 or 3 40-20s, possibly more. I think just Queensland's kicking game in general over that series, I don't know if I've ever seen such a, I guess, extensive kicking game. You know, kicking on the fourth quite consistently, and trying to turn those New South Wales players around.
Yeah, it really nullified the impact of Chaz Dingo. Like, I think that a lot of SRL teams can really take something out of that Origin series, because we know how damaging kick returns from both wingers and fullbacks are in this competition. But I think teams can really take some hints from the absolute kicking masterclass of Kyle Lewis and Isaac Edwards. That was a really, really strong showing from them. I think that, you know, James Thorne's the perfect example of a guy that could really improve his game if he could bring in those tactical kicks into his arsenal.
Yeah, Kyle Lewis and Isaac Edwards really stood out as the dominant halves in that series, and you'd have to say that, you know, Liam Ryan has been, you know, the incumbent, whether it be fullback or 5'8" in that Kangaroos side over the past 1 or 2 seasons, but it's going to be interesting to see how that Australian side gets selected later on in a couple of months' time, because you'd have to say that Isaac Edwards and Kyle Lewis will be front runners to get those halves positions, and with Liam Ryan predominantly playing at fullback, you know, coming up against the likes of Chaz Dingo and Brodie Kennedy, it's going to be tough for, you know, an experienced player like Liam Ryan, you know, to find game time, as we see the Broncos on that far side.
A couple seconds left to go in this half. I think the Broncos will be disappointed with this draw, but
12 points all.
Can take a lot of confidence out of this so far.
Yep, 12 all at half time. We'll be back after the break. Welcome back to Suncorp Stadium here in Brisbane for the second game, Tuesday night action in the Simulation Rugby League Premiership. As Justin plays, gets the second half underway. It's 12 all between the Panthers and the Broncos.
Release.
Two teams who see this as a must-win going into the final couple of games of the season, or the second half of the season. 2 tries for either side has things dead even with 40 minutes remaining. It's the Panthers with their hands on the ball first in the second half. They're going right to left as they go to Thorne, kicking early in the tackle count, James Thorne, and finding a bit of space out the back as Cherry Evans has to make his way back. A couple of changes for both sides. We'll go through those changes. Firstly, for the Panthers, Anthony Delaney has come on for Hayden Malhurt in the centres, and Tim Ball on a second row for Sean Bradford. And it looks as though Jordan Williams and Simon Hunt have swapped around as well. So Jordan Williams will spend the second 40 minutes in the number 13. Meanwhile, for the Broncos, Levi Raymond is on the park, and he's come on for Jack Cahill. Dan Mason has also come on for Logan Clark. And then a couple of changes as well. Sam Herbin has been moved into the halves as Elms makes a break. Robbie Elms got Herbin coming across. Herbin will get him here. Surely wraps up Elms inside the Broncos 10. So only 9 metres away. It was Herbin who wrapped him up. A good quick play of the ball. Declan Murphy out to Fisher. That Fisher's been pushed backwards in a good tackle by Plays. They go quick again to Lee. He'll charge towards the line, a metre out. Murphy once again right to Williams. Cut out past to Kennedy. Again, good defence here from the Broncos. It was Spillane this time. Murphy goes to Jordan Williams on the inside, cut back, taken down in the final tackle. So options left and right. They're going to come near side. Murphy to Lee. He's going to put it high. It's a shallow kick from Mark Lee. Knocked back to Sinclair. And it looks as though, I'm sure that came off a Broncos player. Panthers players complaining, but it's the Broncos who will get the ball. Handover deemed by the referee.
Right, here's tackle one.
But a good start to the second half by the Panthers.
That was one of the best individual runs I've seen this season from Robbie Elms. A really, really strong effort. And I'm looking at that. That's a really controversial call from the referee too, not to give a set restart for the Panthers. But, you know, I'm watching the Broncos at the moment. They made some big changes at halftime, like you said. Logan, they've of course moved, switched Sam Herbert and Cherry Evans. I'm watching Sam in that first half and he was really building to something. I'm not sure about that decision. And we saw Cherry Evans in one of the first kicks of the game get caught out of position. So it'll be interesting to see if he can recover and if he can, you know, slot back in seamlessly at that fullback jersey. He did play a fair bit of fullback for the Cowboys, of course, so he definitely is experienced in the number.
Then obviously the other change made by the Broncos at half-time, Pete Veretto has moved back to his favoured number 13, with Jack Spillane swapping into the second row. So it's the Panthers with their hands on the ball, 10 metres inside the Broncos half, just to the right of the uprights as they swing the ball near side towards us here in the commentary box. It's Mark Lee who will play the ball, 32 metres out, final tackle. It's Saddle Cart who just puts a deft touch down towards Michael Crimp, who's good away from the first line of defence. Kennedy's coming across. Crimp up to the 20. Herbin on his inside. And Crimp gets away from Kennedy. And Crimp has run 80 metres. And the Broncos score first in the second half. I thought for all money Brodie Kennedy had him. But I think a little bit of deception with Herbin up on Crimp's outside. And the home team score first in the second 40.
Yeah, you know, I think Michael Crimp was offended when I said that Robbie Elms just had one of the best individual runs of the SRL, because that was easily one of the best. That probably was the best. That was such a good run. He beat the first defender and he showed electrifying pace, and like you said, he had Sam Herbert on his outside, and I think that, you know, Brodie Kennedy, with hindsight, probably should have played to the man with the ball, but he went for the support player instead, and what a try for Crimp, and all of a sudden the Broncos have control of this game yet again.
2-on-1 any day will win that battle. As Justin Plays converts the try. Broncos out to an 18 points to 12 lead. 50 minutes gone here at Suncorp as the Broncos have made a mistake inside their own 30, giving the Panthers an opportunity to strike back. It's Sinclair taking it up into the tackle of Pete Veretto. Centre field, 25 metres out. Declan Murphy at dummy half. They come left to Martin, the captain. It's Veretto once again who comes over the top. They stay left. Murphy cut out past the Fisher. Good defence on him from Plays. and it's Crimp, the try scorer, who came in to assist. They go short to Murphy. Charging it forward, 2 or 3 metres out, Declan Murphy. The Panthers, final tackle, 25 metres in from the touchline. Lee on the toe to Simon Hunt, struggling towards the line, but good defence, Coda Diab, and the Broncos get the turnover.
Yeah, the Panthers, they look like they were building something there. A couple of really good moments and good short passing from the big men of the Panthers pack. And they almost get over here, but good desperation from Coda Diab. I talked about both teams needing to play with a do-or-die attitude if they're going to get a result here today, and far out. That is really good desperation from Coda Diab.
These two sides have met twice before in the SRL. Back in season 1, it was the Broncos beating the Panthers 24 points to 12. Home game for the Broncos, that one. And then last season, season 2, it was the Panthers running riot against a Broncos side who really struggled in season 2. They won that. The Panthers won that game 24 points to 0. 4 tries to none. It's a tale of 2 seasons as both these sides looking to, I guess, reignite their charge towards finals. Footy as Kennedy goes through the middle. Brodie Kennedy taking it up 11 metres out from the Broncos line, and the Panthers get a penalty. Held in the tackle. Looked like it was Simon Hunt who gave away the penalty.
Yeah, look, there could be argument of a professional foul there. Lachlan Martin is asking the question to the ref.
Tell you what, Kennedy looked like he was away. So 10 metres out here for the Panthers. It's Williams who cuts in on a good line, takes it up to about the 2 or 3 metre mark. Murphy gets a good quick play the ball to Thorne, rolled onto his back, and the Panthers will take it back out to the 5 for the restart. So tackle 4. Murphy goes to Williams, short ball to Martin, the skipper charging towards the line, almost getting his hands free, and Sinclair on his outside as Murphy goes back to the pocket. That's Mark Lee putting it high, near touchline, back to Crimp, and Crimp will be swarmed on and pushed back into his in goal. So the Broncos will restart with the line dropout. It's plays with ball in hand. And with 56 minutes gone, a little over 20 minutes remaining, it's the Broncos holding a 6 points to lead. 6 points lead at the moment. 18 points to 12.
Kamesh, you played in some of the toughest games in SRL history. What does this continuous defence the Broncos need to make at the moment do for their stamina in the back end of this game?
Well, the Broncos have got the size, which counts. They've got some big players so they can handle that physical contact. As we just look at the Panthers, they're 12 metres out here, throwing the ball around. I'll come back to you in a moment, Jack. So it's Kennedy, about 12 metres out, final tackle. Murphy at dummy half. They go to Thorne. This time he's a centering kick from Thorne. Batted back for one of Brodie Kennedy. But it's Pete Veretto, one of those big players who has wrapped them up. And the Broncos defence has held once again.
The Broncos' desperation tonight has been first class. You know, they've probably lacked a bit of that intensity this season, but they've really brought it tonight. This is a really, really good performance so far from the Brisbane Broncos.
Third tackle for the Broncos, only out to their own 25, so Panthers muscling up on defence at the moment as Weston gets past Fisher down that far touchline. Just short of the halfway line as Veretto goes inside to Dan Mason, wrapped up in a good 3-man Panthers tackle. So final tackle now. They'll find Herman, who seems to be doing a lot of the kicking in the second half now that he's moved into that playmaking position as Elms brings it forward. for the kick return.
Hill. Get up. Hill, 2.
Staying that far sideline is Delaney.
3. Back to 10.
Coming up against his former club, obviously. The Broncos and the Panthers agreeing to a trade in that mid-season break. It was Jack Cahill who moved from the Panthers to the Broncos, and Anthony Delaney who made his way to the Panthers, as James Thorne looks to go for the 40-20, and he's nailed it. So the Panthers will get the ball from only 10 metres out. Restarted by Murphy, Lee charging it forward. So big numbers to the right, they go right through Thorne, taken down by Coda Diab. So 2 or 3 metres out, opportunity for the Panthers, they go flat to Jordan Williams, but big defence on him. The Broncos really muscling up at the moment. Kennedy, they go right to ball, and ball goes over, but it's a forward pass. Referee Perinara rules a forward pass. Ball slightly overrunning, and that would have been a try on debut for the big second rower. So
James
the Broncos survive for it's been 3 or 4 sets now. The Broncos have been camped on their own line defending. And I come back to your question, Jack. What do the Panthers need to do to crack this Broncos defence?
I wonder if maybe if they have to keep tackling the Broncos and how much running they've had to do, because that 40-20 was dangerous, if that's going to affect them in the back end of this game.
As we see a penalty this time given away from the Panthers on their own 30, so Raymond will find the sideline only 15 metres out. And so an opportunity here for the Broncos to really stretch their lead and put the Panthers under a lot of pressure. So it's Spillane to play the ball just to the left of the uprights, 18 metres out. They go Herban, Veretto, back inside to Evans. Chopped down in a good tackle, 10 metres out. Diab, quick play the ball. Herban this time back inside to Veretto, charging forward. 5 metres, Diab, flat and short to Spillane. Close to the line, but onto his back. Good defence from the Panthers.
We talked about desperation defence from the Broncos, but the Panthers are showing that now.
It is desperation times on the Penrith line. They know their season is on the line. As tackle 4 restarted, Herban, the Broncos ball through the hands in the back line. On this near side, about 10 metres to the right of the uprights, 8 metres out from the line. Final tackle, Raymond goes high. It's going to come down about 2 metres short of the line. Batted back for Tyler Weston, but the Panthers outside backs will swarm on him, and they survive for now.
Yeah, the Broncos, they have absorbed a lot of pressure from Penrith, and then they've put it all back on Penrith, which they've now absorbed. So it's their turn to respond. How do Penrith respond from a lot of Broncos pressure? It's going to be an interesting set coming up.
That's his second.
Underneath us here in the commentary box, it's the Panthers just on their own side of halfway. Fisher taking it forward. Tackle 4 now. So they'll be looking to kick from just inside their own half. Not the best set from the Panthers, but Lee will punch it down on that far left-hand corner where Weston returns it out to the Broncos 20 they go. Herban is in the thick of things in the second half. Good to see Sam Herban with hands on the ball more often. And you'd have to say this experiment that the Broncos have made in their halves has been quite the interesting one so far. Obviously the first half starting with Jack Cahill and Cherry Evans, both of those players moving out, and Sam Herban and Levi Raymond spending the second 40 in the halves, and they're controlling it just as well. So a good performance here so far by
He's held there. 2 hands away.
this new Broncos pairing as the Panthers have the ball again in their own half, struggling to make their way down into Broncos territory. Thorn will play the ball on their 40, spreading the ball near touchline, now going back to the right. Not really knowing where to go here, the Panthers. 69 minutes gone. A little bit possibly dazed and confused, and the pressure is starting to mount. Counting down 10 minutes remaining here at Suncorp Stadium as Thorn puts the kick in on that far touchline. Again, it's Weston to bring it out, and he does a good job as well. Outside the Broncos 30 they go. It's Clark this time back on the field. So 10 minutes remaining. It's the Broncos holding an 18 points to 12 lead at the moment.
10. 4. Move. Held.
As they take it forward, it's Clark. Slow play the ball from the big front rower, but they'll stay far side as Herbin puts ball to boot just over the Panthers' defensive line and finds Robbie Elms, who returns it up to the Panthers 20. Far side, they bring it near side. A centering run for Sean Bradford, taken in a good tackle by Logan Clark and Jack Spillane. So the Broncos defence holding up at the moment, although Logan Clark was not too happy about that. And we see a penalty given away from the Broncos. So is this what the Panthers need?
Absolutely.
7.5 minutes remaining. James Thorn finds the sideline, 40 metres out from the Broncos line.
Watching this game, Kamish, I honestly think if Sam Herbert was kept in that fullback jersey, I think that perhaps the Broncos are ahead by more at the moment. I think that, you know, there's a little bit of indecision in and around the attack at times for the Broncos, and defensively as well. We saw that with those offside players. I think a little bit of miscommunication on who was meant to stand where. So
you can just see the more that Sam Herbert gets his hands on the ball, just the more dangerous he is. And you know, he's always been one of the best attacking players, as the Broncos have given away another penalty. A sin bin warning given by the referees. The Panthers, through Jordan Williams, are 10 metres out from the Broncos line as they go right. Kennedy gets away from one tackle, taken down 2 metres out. Murphy calling for a quick play. The ball goes to Bradford, taken out without the ball. Millet comes away with it. He's been rolled onto his back. We're going to go upstairs, but Sean Bradford taken out without the ball. Surely the referee will look at that.
This has been a really controversial couple of minutes, to be honest. After that held tackle, it was clearly on purpose. I think that a professional foul could have been used there, but here's another perfect example of a professional foul, Sean Bradford being taken out.
So tackle 4, 7 metres out. It's ball, will be taken. Turnbull on debut, taken down 9 metres out for the Panthers. Final tackle, Williams decides to run it on the final tackle. It's 3 Broncos players who come in and wrap him up, and the big Panthers number 13 will be stopped. And with only 4.5 minutes remaining, was that the Panthers' last opportunity?
I don't know if it is the last opportunity, but it definitely was their biggest that they're probably going to get. I think he got that ball there, hit the first receiver, he should have swung it out to the 5'8" James Thorn. He was calling for it. I think that they were going to try a spread, try and, you know, suck in a couple of Broncos defenders and try and create an overlap. So disappointing there, but playing eyes up footy, that was his instinct. He took a chance, but it didn't quite fail.
A mistake here from the Broncos sees Tyler Weston forced over the sideline. 5 metres inside the Panthers half. So with 3.5 minutes remaining, it's the Panthers with one final opportunity, currently down by 6 points. They go to Bradford near side. The Broncos defence forces him back into the Panthers half. So massive defence here from the Broncos. Malhart goes through a gap. Up inside the Broncos 30 they go. Tackle 3 for Malhart to play the ball. Murphy's had a big game at dummy half, screaming at the referee for a penalty as Williams takes it forward. The big number 10, 12 metres out here the Panthers. As that's Malhart once again. 9 metres out, final tackle, the Panthers, last opportunity as Lee puts it high, the Panthers players coming through, and Brodie Kennedy has received the ball from the tap back, and the Panthers score with a minute and a half remaining.
Wow, what a set. I honestly thought that the Broncos might have been looking at a sin bin. I thought they were hanging on at times in that tackle. You go back to Tyler Weston being forced out. An inexperienced play there. He should have come back infield. Perfect kick from Lee. Tap back. Brodie Kennedy, he deserves a try. He's been working hard all game. And we might be going to golden point, Kamish.
So Lee,
what a result.
The conversion, about 2 or 3 metres to the left of the uprights. No problems for the number 6. And Mark Lee evens it up with a minute and a half remaining. We are locked up 18 all. And we could possibly be going to extra time here at Suncorp Stadium. A last minute try for Brodie Kennedy. It was a Mark Lee kick, a pinpoint kick in fact, that came down. It was knocked back to Brodie Kennedy, who stepped his way through 2 or 3 defenders and scored just to the left of the uprights. As the Broncos get the game back underway, it's the Panthers just outside their own 20, only about 30 seconds remaining in this one. Here's the try scorer, Brodie Kennedy, takes it forward, but we are going to extra time here at Suncorp Stadium with probably 1 tackle remaining as Mallet plays the ball right to Thorne, and he'll be taken down. So as the players make their way to their respective ends of the field, we will go straight into the extra time period. Both teams locked up 18 apiece after 80 minutes of footy.
How good is rugby league? I've just had a look. Joey Kelly's just messaged me. The last Golden Point game, season 1, Broncos 19, Cowboys 18. They've got the Golden Point experience. Can they get another win?
So here we go. Mark Lee with ball on the tee, sends it straight down the park. It's the Broncos with hands on the ball to start this extra time period. Broncos going right to left on your screen. The Panthers left to right. Pete Veretto tucks the ball under his arms and says, "You are not forcing a mistake out of me." Charging his way up out of the Broncos 30. This time it's Jack Cahill making some good metres. Logan Clark on tackle 4. Up over the halfway line the Broncos go. They probably won't get an opportunity for a field goal in this set. Tackle 5, they're 40 metres out. As they'll go back to Herbin. Herbin puts a good kick deep down into Panthers territory. In fact, it's too deep. And Kennedy grabs it in the end goal.
Just about to praise him for that kick. Just got, I think, might have caught a bit of wind there. Disappointing from Herbin. I would love to see him move back to fullback and get a couple of kick returns. See how damaging he can be back there.
Yeah, slight tailwind for the Broncos. Going right to left, and it just caught that southerly here at Suncorp here tonight. Really did well to get back to it. So it's the Panthers on their own 40. Tackle 3, Williams wrapped up in a big tackle by Pete Veretto. In fact, Veretto has given away a penalty.
Oh no.
So James Thorne will look to find the sideline from just on the halfway line and sends the ball out around about 35 metres out from the Broncos line. So a big opportunity here for the Panthers to steal the game at the death. It's Martin to take it forward. Just inside the 30, the skipper goes. Murphy at dummy half. He goes left away from the posts. Finds Malhart on that far touchline. Around about 18 metres out. Saddle Cart stays short side. They go to Fisher. Nathan Fisher close to the line. Forced over the sideline. And the Broncos defence. A mistake surely from the Panthers. They should have come infield. But instead, Saddle Cart decided to go short side. Fisher teetering on that sideline. And the Broncos defence, I think it was Michael Crimp, a good job in forcing him over the sideline.
Yeah, inexperience there from Saddle Cart. Should have come infield to some Panthers forwards. They've really let them off the hook here. It was really poor stuff from Veretto. They were really dominating that set defensively before he gave that penalty away, but they've made up for it there, the Broncos defence.
I don't know what the Panthers were thinking, staying short side. The big numbers to the right. They had the territory. Penalty from Veretto. Here's the Broncos' final tackle, camped back on their own 30. Raymond having to put a big kick down into the Panthers' territory as Fisher returns, and a good chase from Pete Veretto though. Cuts Fisher down just outside the Panthers' 30. So we're back to evens. Panthers still plenty of work to do. Pete Veretto, another big tackle from the big gingerhead. As they stay centre field, Kennedy almost getting away from Logan Clark, who just hangs on for dear life. Thorne decides to run it himself.
Get back, look at me.
Right side to Williams to ball.
He's held there. Up him now.
Up to the Broncos 40. Final tackles, probably still too far out for the attempted field goal. They'll send it far side to Michael Crimp. Gets away from one. Taken down by his opposite Kennedy. Just outside the Broncos 30. It's Prakash charging it forward. A good charging run from the big Broncos front rower. Crimp evades one, evades two. Michael Crimp through the middle. Just chopped down by Brody Kennedy. 10 metres out the Broncos. A great run from Michael Crimp as Raymond goes for the field goal, and the Broncos have stolen it through Levi Raymond, who just sluts it from right in front.
They can give that win to Michael Crimp. What a run. He's had some absolute perler efforts tonight. That was another one. Beautiful footwork, beat two, beat Kennedy, and from there all they had to do was get a quick play the ball, good service, and Levi Raymond absolutely nailed it.
I totally forgot we were in extra time, and I was thinking Raymond, he's going to put a nice kick up to his wing of Tom O'Mac or Tyler Weston, but he just set himself balanced, and the Kiwi skipper slotted it from right out in front. The Broncos take the win in extra time at home, 19 points to 18, 3 tries apiece. The Broncos, Lennox Prakash, Michael Crimp and Jack Cahill. And for the Panthers, Josh Saddle-Cart, Hayden Davis and Brody Kennedy. But you'd have to say that the Panthers, that's 4 losses in a row to start the season. It's going to be almost, restart for season 4. It's been a tough pill to swallow, but the Broncos, I don't know if I'd say they were too good tonight. It was a pretty even game, but, they bagged the 2 points and they keep their season alive.
That's all they had to do, was just get the 2 points, any means necessary, and the desperation in defence is what won them that game. For me, there was some really strong individual efforts from, your Michael Crimp. He made some really strong runs. Of course, had that absolute scintillating try. Lennox Prakash, he had some really strong moments, scored a try too, but it wasn't those moments. It was with the ball, it was without the ball. It was their commitment in defence. It was first class. They're deserved winners tonight. Panthers, they've been absolutely heartbroken. I think it's time maybe they do focus on recruitment and try to build towards season 4 for the rest of the season.
Some interesting stats that I'm looking at here, Jack. For the Broncos, they did have more errors than the Panthers. but 234 tackles for the Broncos compared to 169 tackles for the Panthers. So, you know, 70 more tackles that the Broncos made, but missed tackles, only 24 missed tackles for the Broncos compared to 26 missed tackles for the Panthers. A big stat that I'm looking at, you know, that just shows that defensive effort the Broncos had tonight, really stepping up, especially on their own line. We saw the Panthers, you know, 3 or 4 sets in a row threatening the Broncos line, but, you know, standing up well, led by Pete Veretto in particular. Coda Diab had a good game, and then the interchange bench of Sam Herbin and Levi Raymond switching into the halves. You know, a big win for the Broncos, and I think after all the talk we've had during the week, and maybe the armchair critics who have come in and questioned Justin Plays and Pete Veretto's decision, you know, maybe they'll be quiet for a couple of days, and Pete Veretto and Justin Plays and those Broncos, they'll enjoy this win.
Yeah, look, I definitely was one of those armchair critics. I was really unsure about some of their decisions, but they've proven me wrong tonight. All those players that were moved into different positions were first class. I thought Jack Cahill and his starting, I think it was his starting debut for the Broncos, was exceptional. So really good stuff for the Broncos to build on, really good game for them to build on. You know, I've talked a lot about on my podcast about how committed they really are to the cause and to each other. You know, is there a big falling out? Is there a split down the middle of the playing group? But they played like a unified team tonight. They should be really proud of their efforts, and I think that, you know, this is something they really can build on. And I said it as well earlier in the week, I don't know if they can make the finals, but with a performance like that, I think that they're right up there if they can sustain that.
Thanks, Jack. Hey, and thanks for joining me tonight. It's been a pleasure having you side by side with me in the comm box. We've had 2 awesome games to start round 2, and we look forward to another big night in the SRL Premiership tomorrow night here on SRL TV.
Thanks for having me. Good night to everybody. Thanks for being a part of this broadcast.